Speak loudly.
Mike Hastie. I'm going to try to speak up so you can hear me because of all the activity. Anyway, I was an Army medic in Vietnam, and so what I'm going to read to you is a piece that I wrote just a few days ago. It really dovetails into what Will was talking about as far as fascism goes. And so, let me just start out. The title of this piece is called Erasing the Blackboard, okay? It's called Erasing the Blackboard. When I left Vietnam in September of 1971 after being in the Central Highlands for 1 year, I remember an event that I could only see its importance many years later. 3 days before I left Vietnam, at the outprocessing center in Cam Ranh Bay, I was with a couple of hundred soldiers who were also heading home from a war that was drenched in lies. I was sleeping in one of those large barracks with a lot of other anxious people who just wanted out of this place. One of the things we had to wait for was the results of a piss test to determine if we had been using heroin in Vietnam. If you tested positive, you had to stay in Vietnam for another 2 to 3 weeks to be detoxed. It was obviously a temporary shake and bake treatment that would only last until they got home, where they would no doubt continue the assault of destroying their lives with a drug that was having a powerful impact on the morale of American troops in Vietnam. While I was in Vietnam, I saw the end results of people killing themselves and killing others because heroin was dictating every decision they made. Heroin addiction was rampant in my unit, and it was being supplied and transported by the CIA and highly ranking South Vietnamese officers because heroin was like cash, and the cash flow never stopped. It was another level of unfathomable corruption that defined the entire American war in Vietnam. We were all disposable chess pieces that were moved around on a chessboard to suit the corporate elite's orgasm of non-stop profit. We were all chumps in a war that would eventually kill millions of people. So, when my piss test came back negative, I was good to go. Back to the United States that pretended to be my earthly home. My last perceptions of being in Vietnam were written on the walls of that barracks I stayed in for a few days. On every square inch of those walls was highly toxic war graffiti, telling the absolute truth about the American war in Vietnam. It was all graphic prose, to say the least. American soldiers spilled their guts about how much they hated their government and Richard Milhous Nixon. They were as articulate as any gifted writer who had the personal experience of bullshit and betrayal.
Amen.
Betrayal is like heroin. It would eventually kill anything that moved.
Well done, brother.
And when the Vietnam War ended, that graffiti with the walls it was on was destroyed. The blackboard was erased forever. The tragedy of all this is that future American soldiers would see the same horror of lies in Iraq and Afghanistan, and would experience the exact same pathology of betrayal. Long after Vietnam veterans are gone, the new American soldier will be pissing in the same sewer of historical deceit. It's all the same orgy of madness. I am truly sorry that the Vietnam Blackboard was destroyed, because it would have saved so many lives. For the love of money is the root of all evil. And that is why the blackboard is erased. And that's exactly what Will Poole was talking about. Thank you very much.
All right.